Episode 1. Matt Murdock and his friends and legal partners Foggy Nelson and Karen Page celebrate the retirement of their NYPD associate Jerry at Josie's bar. They are attacked by their old enemy Benjamin Dex Poindexter, who kills Nelson. An enraged Murdock, as the masked vigilante Daredevil, attempts to kill Dex by dropping him from a roof. Jerry sees that Murdock is Daredevil. A year later, Murdock has retired as Daredevil and formed a new law firm with former District Attorney Kirsten McDuffie. Page has moved to San Francisco, and Dex is given a life sentence for his crimes. McDuffie sets Murdock up with therapist Heather Glenn and they begin dating. After taking time away to recover from a vigilante attack, former mob boss Wilson Fisk announces that he is running for mayor of New York City with an anti-vigilante agenda. In a meeting, Murdock promises to stop Fisk if he steps out of line, while Fisk says there will be consequences if Murdock resumes his vigilante activities. After winning the election, Fisk tells his wife Vanessa that he knows she had an affair with a man named Adam while he was away. Episode 2. Hector Ayala comes across two men, Powell and Shanahan, beating up Nicky Torres in a subway station. Ayala attempts to break up the fight and Torres runs away. When Shanahan trips and is killed by a train, Powell reveals that they are police officers and arrests Ayala for murder. Murdock, using his heightened senses, believes Ayala's story and decides to represent him. Sherry, now working as Murdock's investigator, learns that Ayala is the vigilante White Tiger. Murdock convinces the judge in Ayala's case to withhold this information, believing it would unfairly bias the jury. To improve optics during his first days as mayor, Fisk meets with young journalist B.B. Urich, who reveals that popular NYPD Commissioner Gallo is poised to resign in protest of Fisk becoming mayor. Fisk threatens to expose Gallo's infidelity to stop him from resigning. Fisk and Vanessa start attending couples therapy with Glenn. Murdock tracks down Torres and helps him escape from Powell and another corrupt police officer. The corrupt officers have tattoos of a skull, the symbol of the lethal vigilante Frank Castle/Punisher. Episode 3. Fisk and Vanessa avoid their previous criminal activities while Fisk is mayor. Two leaders of New York City's gangs, Luca and Victor, begin to fight among themselves. Fisk believes they should let the gangs kill each other to help build a lasting peace, but Vanessa is frustrated that her work is being undone. She sends Fisk's right-hand man Buck Cashman to order Luca to pay $1.8 million restitution to Victor. Sherry brings Torres to testify at Ayala's trial, but Torres is intimidated by the police and says he was never assaulted. With no other options, Murdock reveals Ayala's identity as the White Tiger in court. He is criticized by the judge and district attorney Benjamin Hotberg for his hypocrisy. With new witness accounts and police records detailing Ayala's heroic deeds as White Tiger, Murdock and McDuffie successfully convinced the jury to find Ayala not guilty. In an interview with BB, Fisk denounces the trial's results and vows to uphold his anti-vigilante stance. Despite Murdock's warning that Ayala should stop being White Tiger, Ayala goes out on patrol and is murdered by a man wearing the Punisher's symbol. Episode 4. Murdock is confronted by Ayala's niece, Angela Del Toro, who believes the police are responsible for Ayala's death. Murdock comforts her with hope that the killer will be brought to justice. At marriage counseling, Fisk and Vanessa discuss her affair with Adam, and Glenn privately asks Vanessa if she feels safe around Fisk. Fisk's plan to rebuild the Red Hook port faces several hurdles, including bureaucratic procedures, gang infighting, and his protege Daniel Blake drunkenly leaking details to BB, who reports that Fisk is a union buster. Despite his anger, Fisk decides not to fire Blake when the latter expresses his deep loyalty. Murdock investigates the site of Ayala's murder and finds a bullet casing with the Punisher's symbol on it. He tracks down Castle and suggests he take responsibility for those who are misusing the Punisher symbol. Castle calls out Murdock for not ensuring Dex's death as retribution for Nelson's death. Later that night, Murdock practices with his Daredevil billy clubs, Fisk eats dinner next to an imprisoned Adam, and the masked serial killer Muse drains blood from a victim. Episode 5. On St. Patrick's Day, Murdock goes to New York Mutual Bank to discuss a loan for his law firm. His application is denied by assistant bank manager Yusuf Khan due to the firm's penchant for taking on clients who cannot afford to pay. Soon after Murdock leaves, a group of criminals led by Devlin enter the bank and take everyone hostage. They work for Luca and are attempting to steal the $1.8 million he needs to pay to Victor. Murdock hears them and returns to the bank. When the police arrive, Devlin talks with hostage negotiator Detective Angie Kim. Murdock takes out two of the robbers while Khan stalls for time at the bank vault. Murdock opens the vault and they find a rare diamond that the robbers are targeting. Murdock pretends to give the diamond to Devlin as the police enter the bank. Devlin gives the parcel to an accomplice among the hostages, who later realizes that she does not have the diamond. Devlin disguises himself as a police officer and leaves, but is caught and injured by Murdock. Later, Murdock secretly returns the diamond and accepts an offer to have dinner with Khan's family. Episode 6. After the failed robbery, Luca visits Fisk and refuses to pay the $1.8 million to Victor. Fisk raises the amount to $2.8 million and gives Luca a week to pay it. He then learns from the city's sanitation department that Muse is using human blood in his street art. Muse later leaves the bodies of two victims next to a new mural as public confirmation of his actions. Fisk learns of this during a fundraiser with the city's elites, including socialite Jack Duquesne, who are against his Red Hook plans. To deal with Muse, Fisk establishes an anti-vigilante task force, AVTF, with additional powers and recruits notorious police officers such as Powell and former Detective Cole North. Angela believes Ayala was investigating Muse before his death and asks Murdoch to continue his work. When Murdoch refuses, she goes herself and is abducted by Muse. Alerted to her disappearance, Murdoch finally decides to suit up as Daredevil. He finds Muse's lair, fights Muse, and rescues Angela, but Muse gets away. Meanwhile, Fisk gives Adam an axe and challenges him to a fight in which Fisk beats him and drags him back to his cell. Episode 7. Recuperating Angela tells the police that Daredevil saved her and directs them to Muse's lair. Kim reports to Fisk, who is angry that Daredevil has returned, that the primary suspect for Muse is a troubled young man named Bastian Cooper. Luca asks Vanessa to return to her criminal activities behind Fisk's back. In a session with Glenn, Bastian thanks her for helping him embrace his true identity. She realizes he is Muse and Bastian knocks her unconscious. Murdoch and the AVTF separately find paintings of Glenn in Muse's lair and go to save her. As Daredevil, Murdoch arrives at Glenn's office, rescues her, and fights Muse. As the AVTF prepares to enter, Glenn fatally shoots Muse before fainting. Murdoch stabilizes her injuries before the AVTF arrives. Fisk gives credit for stopping Muse to the AVTF and publicly declares them to be heroes. Blake threatens BB into removing eyewitness mentions of Daredevil's involvement in the incident from her blog. A recovering Glenn tells Murdoch that she heard Daredevil say her name. Vanessa seemingly sends Luca to kill Fisk, but this is a trap and Cashman kills Luca. Episode 8. Dex is moved from solitary confinement to Gen Pop on Fisk's orders. Fisk also reveals his imprisonment of Adam to Vanessa and watches as she kills him, promotes Blake to Deputy Mayor of Communications, and invites Glenn to his black and white ball fundraiser. Murdoch realizes that Fisk is Glenn's patient, further straining their relationship as he contests her anti-vigilante views. At Josie's bar, Murdoch learns that Nelson was celebrating an impending court when the night he died. Believing Fisk hired Dex to silence Nelson, Murdoch interrogates Dex and injures him. Dex later kills his doctor and a guard before escaping prison. At the ball, Fisk blackmails Duquesne, who is the sword-wielding vigilante swordsman, and other socialites into supporting his Red Hook project. BB, who is aware of Fisk's involvement in her uncle Ben Urich's murder, asks Gallo to help bring down Fisk and the AVTF. Murdoch deduces that it was actually Vanessa who hired Dex to kill Nelson, and confronts her. As Fisk starts to tell Glenn that Murdoch is Daredevil, Dex arrives and shoots at Fisk. Murdoch jumps in front of the bullet. Episode 9. Dex escapes from the ball while Murdoch is hospitalized. Fisk cuts off the power to New York City and orders Cashman to kill Murdoch, who escapes to his apartment. Castle finds him there and they both fight AVTF officers, including North, who is revealed to be Ayala's murderer. The pair reunite with Paige, who asked Castle to protect Murdoch after learning of Dex's escape. Murdoch and Paige track down Nelson's case files and discover that Red Hook is a free port and the Fisks are trying to turn it into their own city-state. Castle fights the AVTF at Red Hook, calling them out for using his symbol, and is captured. Fisk learns that Gallo was planning to undermine him and brutally crushes his skull. He turns the power back on and declares martial law, outlawing vigilantism and imprisoning Duquesne, Castle, and other dissidents at Red Hook. He offers Glenn the position of mental health commissioner, which she accepts. Murdoch recruits Cherry, Kim, and other honest police officers to resist Fisk and save the city. In a mid-credits scene, Castle tricks a prison guard to enable his escape.